I want to also ask about love language because when I first got married, we talked about love languages, and we read, well, we talked about, my wife talked about it, and then I kind of listened and kind of learned about love languages. So,
It's right. It's right.
but what's interesting about love languages to me, and y'all could tell me what I want to hear from the ladies. What do y'all think? Because one of the love languages was gifts, and
Acts of kindness.
well,
Well,
I know,
yeah,
but gifts
gifts. I think
gifts is one of them.
gifts is one of them.
And
This
Yeah.
I,
is
you
one of
know,
them,
I
right?
personally, I wouldn't say I'm a huge gift giver. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am because I'm not a huge gift giver. I'm more the type of man that I do all the everyday things that, you really appreciate. I make sure air is
Acts
in
of
your tire.
service.
Make sure your oil is
Yeah.
Acts of
changed. I
service.
make sure the trash is taken out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm one of those guys. I'm not the best gift giver, but I do give gifts. But one of the things about the love language of gifts, which I find is interesting, I find a lot of women be like, "Oh, that's my love language," and I'd be like, you know what? I think I think gifts should not be a love language, only because it's corny to me. I feel like gifts are something that, because look, what happens with gifts for as far as a love language, I think a lot of men can play on that. If you have a lot of resources, that's why men with resources just give a lot of gifts. Most men with resources are gift heavy because
But
gifts
that's
are
not necessarily the gifts though. So gifts doesn't, you're equating gifts with and I'm not, my love language is actually quality time and acts of service. So
okay.
you
That's
fix
my
something, oh my God, I love you.
that's mine
Um,
that's mine as well. Yeah, it
but
doesn't
as
have
far as
anything to
with
do with
gifts,
gifts.
it's not always, it doesn't have to be the most expensive thing. Like it could be something sentimental that said, you know what, I thought about you. You
Right.
know, I saw this. I remember you were talking about how you love great now laters. Boo, it's a Wednesday in
Yeah.
October and I got you some great now and laters. So it's just special. It doesn't have to be expensive, just
Yeah.
special and specific to that woman. Now,
I
if you give
respect
me
it.
a
But he
Tiffany
better
bracelet,
not
I'm on
have
that like
grape
the
now
time.
ladies on Valentine's
You
Day.
better not.
He, he better not have grape now ladies on Valentine's Day. She talking all that when she talking. Let him walk up in there
I got some great
on
now ladies on
February
the
on
car.
Valentine's Day. She gonna go ahead and she like, well, that couch, you don't made that couch into a darn sofa couch. You better go sleep your behind over there.
No,
So
no,
yeah,
no. The
but
real flex is when you can get something special not on these commercialized days. Most grown-ups don't even care. Valentine's Day, okay, yay, I got some chocolate, we going somewhere. No, the real flex is on a Wednesday in August, you got me something special and cute. And it's like, oh, but no, gifts
Yeah.
doesn't have to be expensive.
I think
Just
it's
I
something
think
special.
thought.
I think what happens though is after people stay together for a really long time, you don't really get gifts. So acts of service, it goes down to two. Quality time, you might get it, but it's when you're not busy. Words of affirmation, that's lost in the wind. I mean, like, seriously.
what?
Yeah, like after you stay married like 18, 19 years for some reason, and I'm not going to say this is a male thing, I think women tend to do it as well. You get too comfortable in the relationship
Yeah.
and you have to be intentional about making your person feel special. Women, we like to feel special, and special does not mean flooding us with gifts. Special means being
Attention,
appreciative,
time.
attentive, thoughtful,
Hmm.
Yep.
intentional in how you move in your relationship. And
Right.
I think what happens, because I was married for 18 years and we were together for 25. And I'm just going to say that after a while, relationships go through this period where for a while it feels like love and then it feels like a brother sister relationship. Then you kind of go in and out, but you have to be intentional about making your partner feel like they're special. And
Yeah.
so, and then you're wondering why other people are getting attention.
Hmm.
Well, that's, you know
No,
what?
seriously.
I'm glad you
I
hit
mean,
that.
that's just the
Word.
truth. Let's just keep it real.
Well, I'm glad you said that because we kind of touched upon it before, but it's unfortunate that especially nowadays. I think we as a society have become addicted to attention to a certain degree, exacerbated by social media. And some of us have, it's easy to click like on a picture and things of that nature. And there's so much attention that people can get via social media. And now to ask your mate to compete with 10,000 men is going to get you attention on a picture to a certain degree. I'm just using as an example. It's an unfair fight. He
No,
can never win
I'm going to
that.
disagree with you on that end.
So
I'm gonna have to
Social media.
you're going to
I'm gonna have to
disagree that
disagree.
Yeah.
that
I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
okay.
It's not that you're asking your mate to compete with men or whoever putting likes on a picture, because ultimately that's a very, very shallow form of attention and affirmation. When the person that you
Hmm.
want that attention and affirmation from is the one that's standing right next to you. And that attention and affirmation, he could just give you, a hug and that, sweetheart, man, you look really beautiful today. I
Yep.
love you. Put his arms around you. Spend an hour or two taking you to dinner, and that trumps any like or heart emoji on a picture. Okay,
Yeah.
and like Tanja was saying, you have to be very intentional about showing your person that attention and that affirmation. And I think that regardless of how long you're together, it's an intentional thing, because every day you wake up, you have to make a decision that you want to be in this relationship, and that you want to show this
Absolutely.
person that they are something special to you. And yeah, we all get caught up in life, we all get caught up in the busyness of things that we have to do, but at the end of the day, you still have to be intentional about making sure that person knows that you feel that they're special. You cannot take for granted that, oh, well, we're together, you know how I feel, you know how I feel about you, blah, blah, blah. But
Well, can I jump in for the
you
fellas
may.
slightly?
Yes, you may.
Now, I think Ian touched on something very interesting because I do think there is a portion of attention, and there's different types of attention, and I think that there is something to that. Now, I think what happens sometimes in relationships too, as far as women, um, I think that when we talk about romance, right? So, to Tanja's point, when at the end you said something about that's why other people get attention, right? So,
Yeah, but I stopped because I didn't really finish the statement, but I'm going to let you finish and then I'll chime in after you're done because I want to hear what you have to say.
okay, well, no, I was just saying that. So what this is what happens, I think, a lot of times in relationships. I agree with you, Tanja, when you said we do take each other for granted. I think that's natural for humans to take each other for granted. I think as much as we don't want to, we just do it, men and women alike. What I think is interesting about the male female dynamic sometimes is that when we talk about romance, I think that um women think romance is something that's given to them, right? And I think that romance is a vibe. It's a two-way street, and I think a lot of times women are aware of what they're not getting. You know what I'm saying? But they're not really aware of what they're not giving. So the reason why I say that is
Mm,
that, so for instance, and I'm not going to say what you were getting ready to say, but just in relation to, let's say, meeting somebody new. What happens when you first meet somebody new? The thing that makes the chemistry and the energy happen is because there's a vibe. There's an energy, there's a vibe, there's rhythm. I call it rhythm. Without women giving rhythm to a man, you have nothing there. That's just my point of view. I think in the male female dynamic, without women giving rhythm, everything's dead. You walk into a room and a guy is feeling you, a gentleman's feeling you. If you're not giving rhythm, that thing is dead. But if the woman is giving rhythm, then you have a certain chemistry, a certain vibe. So I think what happens in relationships too is that and this, I'm just saying my point of view. Women get to a point where they're kind of like waiting for romance to be given to them. And they are like, you know what, that vibe, the vibes that they give off, that energy that they give off, that slowly goes away. And then they're like, well, if I don't get romance, if you don't give me romance, I'm not turning on that vibe. And then I think men, on the other hand, don't give romance sometimes because they don't feel that vibe. So I'm not blaming anybody, but I think that, again, I think sometimes speaking to Valentine's Day, it's kind of like waiting to be given romance. And I think that that's kind of the wrong way. So just take it up for the
I
brother.
think
Can can we agree that men are the most romantic?
Oh, please.
Yeah, because I mean, one thing I want to say about what you just said is that, like when you talk about romance, right, that can show up in so many different ways, right? Romance can show up, you know, from cooking dinner to lingerie to just being attentive and caring. I think it just depends, but I don't really, I can't, I don't know that I agree with you that women are not introspective. I think women think a lot about how we treat our partners, how we treat our children, how we treat our family, whether it's mother, father, whoever. And I think we put a lot of time into being selfless. And so, and I don't think I'm being biased. I think I'm being just straightforward. We are wired differently. And so for us, we give so much to our family. We give so much to the people that we love. You know, what do we have to do? And I think a lot of women feel like this. So, why do we need to come to you and say, you know, did you realize I cooked you dinner all week? Not that this is a transactional relationship. I did that because I love you. I care for you. But where's my dinner? I
Well,
mean, wait,
can I
wait,
can
wait.
I can I respond to that piece when just real quick?
Yeah.
I think that I think the reason why that happens is that, so I think women love men in a way where they're like, you know what, I'm not really worried about what you want. I'm really more focused on what I give. So to that point, so when you cook dinner, you'll say, okay, I did this for you because I love you, and a man should appreciate that, which I agree. On the flip side, a man will say, you know what, I cut the grass. I changed your oil. I made sure the trash was taken out. I made sure you had gas in your car, whatever it is. I did certain things to make sure you're safe, and I worried about your security. And a lot of times, women will look at that and they'll say, "Well, that's not romance, though. That's not romantic." So I think that, women will look at a man's task back to them, those mundane tasks. They'll depreciate those tasks, but then those mundane tasks that y'all do, you super inflate the value of them.
Mm.
So it becomes where I think we both appreciate the mundane tasks, it's cool, but relationships fall short because women will look at those same tasks. Even if a man said, "Hey, I made you breakfast all week," women say, "Well, that's cool, but that ain't romance." So that's just my thing on that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
What you're saying, it goes into how both sides can take each other for granted. Because
Yeah.
you said that women, we tend to superinflate what we do. And then, but you're also saying the things that you do, women kind of like, well, okay,
Dismiss
thanks,
it.
like disregard it. And I think that's the crux of the problem. Maybe both sides take for granted what they're receiving from the other. And then we get into the state where, no one is feeling appreciated. Because ultimately, everybody wants to feel appreciated, right? Oh, I cooked dinner for you. I mowed the lawn after I worked for 8 hours. I cooked dinner after working for 8 hours. And that could be both men and women. So
And
people
then
feel unappreciated.
and then they'll still come home and say, "Well, why don't you put something sexy on?" And I'm like, "Nigga, you got holy draws on and everything else." Like, I mean,
Not over here.
like seriously, like what are you
Not
doing?
only did you
That's
work,
sexy.
not only did you work, not only did you cook all the food, but you
Jeez.
took care of the kid. You were the one taking care of the kids while they were over there chilling. And now they want to know why you not putting on lingerie.
Uh-oh.
That's fair. That's
What?
fair.
What?
If it's
What?
that's
What?
fair if
Wait a
that's your
minute.
situation.
Wait
That's
a minute.
fair.
You got on some damn gym shorts. What? Like, really? Really?